Until a couple of days ago, I was wondering what on earth I was going to say today. How could I sum up a lifetime of memories and all my feelings about my mum? It seemed completely impossible. And then a very vivid memory came back to me. Sitting outside a bar in St. Petersburg, having a drink with my mum, my friend Alex, and a Russian friend, a punk musician who lived in a squat. He'd never met a business woman before, let alone one who drank pints and smoked cigars. He later described my mum as a democratic woman. This was high praise, and I felt then, and still feel, that despite the language barrier, he had seen something essential in her. Mum's enjoyment of that situation was typical of her openness to life and warmth towards the people she met. One of the many things that she shared with Dad, for all the differences in their characters. And it made me realise how very lucky I was to have her as my mum. So many of my friends have told me in the last days and weeks how much they admired and respected my mum, that she was an inspiration and a role model, as well as a friend to them. She was all those things to me too, and much more. We had our moments, it must be said, as two people who were very similar were bound to, but we were always very, very close. She was an incredible source of support and care, at good times and bad, whether I wanted it or not. And even if she was sometimes mystified by some of my life choices, she was always fiercely proud of my achievements, as I was of hers. I'd be proud to be half the woman she was. Over this summer, while she was in hospital, our relationship changed and became even closer, as I got the chance to turn the tables and care for her. I ended up helping Mum with her swallowing and voice exercises, but also doing things like painting her nails, keeping her feet in good condition, and generally helping her to look her best, which was always so important to her. We had quite a giggle sometimes, and even ended up ganging up on my dad on more than one occasion. Caring for Mum helped me a great deal too. I know I was very cack-handed compared to the wonderful nursing staff on the ward, and I don't think an alternative career as a beautician beckons either. But it made me realise that I would do anything for her, and how much I loved her. Obviously, I wish Mum hadn't had a stroke and was still with us, but I wouldn't have missed this summer for the world. It gave us time together that we otherwise wouldn't have had, and it was amazing to see all her strength and determination as she worked so hard to recover. The photo of Mum that you've all seen, of her in her prime and her killer heels, is the way that we all want to remember her. But I'll never forget walking in through the hospital entrance one morning with Dad to see her coming down the corridor towards us in her new electric wheelchair. My mum, facing up to whatever life threw at her, with incredible spirit, and her love for us uppermost in her mind and her heart. And then she didn't want to come home. As Mum said, the afternoon wore on. Where is she? She must have met a lad. She must have met a lad. And so she had. And so the long friendship and the romance began. And as Wilson said, they would have been married 48 years ago this week. Jean had a big personality. She was colourful, enthusiastic and energetic. And bossy, as big sisters are. She put her heart and soul into whatever she did. And Jean had the need and commitment to organise.
And we each knew within a couple of months that we were destined for each other. We got formally engaged 2 years later on the day before I left school. Not for devilment, but because it was the anniversary of when we first met. And I proposed under the tree where we first met, the tree that's still there, and we paid it a visit a couple of years ago on the 50th anniversary of our meeting. We got married just before my third year at university, 48 years ago, this Wednesday just gone. Again, this was not for devilment, but because my tutor pleaded with Jean so that he might get some work done. So that was the beginning of our adventure through life together. We had the usual highs and lows of any marriage. We had 2 wonderful children. We travelled a lot. And we did what we felt was our best for our kids and for mankind. Yes, we both said quite often that we loved each other, and we meant it. But, like an old pair of comfortable shoes, we sort of began to take each other a bit for granted. So that was the middle. When I had my close call with death a few years ago, it made us both realise how fragile life is, and that we weren't immortal. There is a Buddhist proverb: you don't know what's coming, the next breath or the next life. And we began to accept that our time together in this life was limited. Hopefully we would part later rather than sooner, but Jean's motto of live for the day became very, very real to us. The events of the last couple of months rammed all this home to us very forcibly. And if one good thing has come out of it, it is knowing that our flame had never really gone out. And we parted knowing that our love for each other was as strong as it ever was. A lot of you are here today with your partners. Some of you won't have got to the comfortable shoes stage yet. Others might have been wearing them for years and don't realise it. So I'll close with a piece of advice. Live for the day, every day, and you'll have no regrets. Thanks.